Traditional mysterious fantasy, husband-in-law, rebirth, decisive assassination. I have a jade called Futu, and I have a method called Futu creation and transformation technique. It swallows the creation and transformation of heaven and earth, refining the energy of all things in heaven and earth. Your top-notch bloodline. Laugh to death. Do you know that I can have 13 bloodlines, each of which can be upgraded? Young Immortal, whose 9th grade bloodline was taken away by his elder brother, became a waste. Being a son-in-law to the Ning family is not as good as living a dog. Come back, reshape and upgrade your bloodline, refine heaven and earth, and walk the supreme path. Let's see how he holds the sky, reverses the universe, and steps on the 9 heavens. Chapter 1. Rebirth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Immortal, for the sake of the brothers' fight, you can settle it on your own. The young man looked down and collapsed on the ruins, covered in blood stains, with a cold and indifferent look in his slender eyes. Cough. Ha ha ha. Brother. Immortal forcefully supported his body, which was about to break apart, with a ferocious roar. Xingyi. You have taken my bloodline and made me useless. Even if I die today, I will also drag you along. Despite all the unwillingness in his heart, Immortal still held on to Xingyi with all his might. An unparalleled force erupted within the body at this moment. All spiritual energy converges to a point, and then rapidly expands. Bang! After the huge explosion, Immortal's body turned into a shower of blood and disappeared. Bloodline City, Ningjia. In the scorching summer of June, the scorching sun scorched the earth, and the scorching atmosphere filled the air. Xingyi. The young man pounced forward and sat up, panting heavily in his mouth. In a pair of eyes as dark as the night sky, there is endless anger, and after the anger, there is a lot of unwillingness. Wait, am I still alive? Immortal's face showed confusion, unable to believe that he was still alive. I deeply remember the scene when I self-destructed. How could I still be alive? Patrol around, the objects placed in the surrounding rooms are the same as in his memory. Bloodline City, Ningjia. Immortal recognized everything in front of him. I just feel like my head is in chaos, and my eyes are full of disbelief. The Ning family was not destroyed. Xingyi. The door was pushed open by someone. Immortal looked up and a figure pushed the door in. I saw a young girl wearing a plain white dress and a thin veil on her face. The girl's beautiful eyes were slightly cold, with 3,000 green strands bound by a headband hanging at the back of her head. Although her true appearance was concealed, her graceful figure was intricately outlined by her dress, with a pair of straight and round legs under her skirt, which were very eye-catching. The girl saw Immortal wake up and said, "You're awake." The voice is gentle and very pleasant, giving off a feeling of spring breeze. Frost. Immortal can't believe it, she's still alive. Am I reborn? Immortal had a bold idea in his heart. Looking at the girl entering the room, my heart became even more determined. It seems that I was reborn a year and a half ago, and today is the first day I arrived at the Ning family. No wonder I feel so familiar with everything. Last life, this time. I was just framed by my own brother, and his awakened 9th grade bloodline was dug up by him, becoming a waste that cannot be cultivated. The Mo clan learned that he could not cultivate, so they expelled him from the family and introduced him to the Ning family. By a twist of fate, it devoured the bloodline of the demon beast before stepping back into cultivation. Later, the Ning family was destroyed because of him. I ultimately lost to Xingyi and chose to die together. Since heaven has given me a chance to do it again, I will not let the same tragedy happen again. Immortal secretly clenched his fist. Suddenly, he remembered something. Divine consciousness sinks into the elixir field. A black jade stone is lying quietly in the dantian. You are indeed in my dantian. Xingyi, the enmity between two generations, I will repay it twice as much. Ning Xuang saw Mo Li staring at her in a daze, her eyebrows furrowed slightly, and her tone was slightly cold. "Since you're awake, let's talk about it." The girl's voice was calm and composed, like a gentle breeze. "Okay, I also want to talk to you." Mo Li regained consciousness and nodded. In the previous life, Ning Xuang also talked to him at the same time, and Mo Li was very clear in her heart what Ning Xuang wanted to do. The things that happened to him once again. But the same tragedy, he won't let it happen again. Mo Li dragged his weak body and sat next to Ning Xuang. With his current physical condition, he still needs the help of Ningjia. The Ning family is not a prestigious family, but in this small city of Bailing, they are also one of the three major families. In fact, there is still strength and background. In this life, we can no longer be blind like in the previous one. Ning Xuang was taken aback for a moment, not expecting that this person would also want to talk to her, which surprised her a bit. "You're a smart person, I'll just say it directly," she said. "The marriage alliance between the Ning family and your Mo family, which led you to join the Ning family, is nothing more than valuing the Mo family's strength in the Tianluo Emperor's dynasty. I, Ningjia, need a force like the Mo tribe as a backing." Having had a lifetime of experience, Mo Li naturally understood. The Mo tribe is one of the four major town kings of the Tianluo dynasty. Nowadays, the power of the Mo tribe is flourishing, and it is not an exaggeration to say that it is the first family under the royal family. Ningjia naturally values the weight of this. It's more like attachment than a marriage alliance. After all, the Ning family is currently in Bailing City and is being suppressed by the other two major families, constantly at risk of being annexed. This is why the Mahist school sent him as a waste with blocked meridians and incomplete blood vessels to invade, and the Ning family dared not complain. Ningjia really needs the background of the Mo ethnic group. Unfortunately, the Ning family was ultimately destroyed by the Mo tribe. What Mo Li has yet to figure out is why the Mo clan agreed to marry the Ning family. In the previous life, what was Mo Qianqiu looking for? What exactly is the Ning family hiding? "I will sign a 6-month contract with you, and after 6 months, we will terminate our engagement." Ning Xuang Lian spat lightly and spoke in a cold tone, "I will give you a large amount of resources, enough for you to live for a lifetime." After all, the two are separated by clouds and mud. It's better to explain everything clearly, so as not to cause trouble in the future. Mo Li looked at the girl in front of him, still as quiet as a cicada and as cold as frost. A cool temperament, like an isolated ice lotus. Although the girl wore a veil and concealed her true face, Mo Li still remembered the stunning appearance of a girl from a past life in her mind. In the previous life, her death was for himself, but in this life, he must take good care of this girl. The prerequisite is to have sufficient strength. In this world, strength is king. Only with strength can we have everything. The principle of the law of the jungle has never changed since ancient times. I have 2 conditions. Mo Li stared at those beautiful eyes and replied seriously. "You said," Ning Xuang nodded, not surprised. On the way here, she had already figured out that it wouldn't be so easy to get this person to agree. She can agree as long as it's not too extreme. Firstly, I need 3 primuli plants. Mo Li raised 3 fingers, and in order to be able to practice again, these 3 spiritual herbs were the key. Zhuling grass, a first-grade spiritual medicine. Families like the Ning family have their own medicinal gardens. As the daughter of the head of the family, Ning Xuang has 3 plants of spiritual herbs, which is not a difficult task. A hint of surprise appeared in Ning Xuang's beautiful eyes. "Okay, I promise you." She didn't even think about it, so she agreed. What is the second condition? Ning Xuang would not believe that someone would propose such a simple condition. The second condition is that I want to enter the ancestral temple of the Ning family. Mo Li stared at Ning Xuang. This condition is not simple. Outsiders are not allowed to enter the ancestral temple of the Ning family. This is a rule left by the ancestors of the Ning family, and no one dares to modify it without authorization. Enter the Ningjia ancestral temple. Ning Xuang frowned. She never expected that Emily would make such a request. For Frost, there are indeed some difficulties. What, there's a problem? Emily asked. Taking a deep breath, Ning Xuang asked, can we replace it? Cannot. Emily shook his head, he had a reason to go in. After pondering for a moment, Ning Xuang stood up and said, you come with me. Emily frowned and said, where are you going? Get married. P.S. Realm Division. Quenching Body Realm, Lingwu Realm, Yuanwu Realm, Xuanwu Realm, Jinwu Realm, Tianwu Realm, Overlord Realm, Cave Void Realm, Nirvana Realm, Life and Death Realm, Venerable Realm, Sage Realm, and Supreme Realm. Cute new author, writing a novel for the first time, it is a fantasy book. Thank you for reading and watching, thank you for your support, and take care of yourself. The year of computer sales is here. Thank you all. Chapter 2. Wedding Night. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bailing City, Ningjia. Lanterns and colorful decorations are displayed everywhere, with various red lanterns hanging high and joyous stickers everywhere. Today is Miss Ning's wedding day. The disciples in the mansion were busy, but the atmosphere seemed a bit heavy. There was no hint of joy on their faces, which seemed out of place with the festive atmosphere. Emily sat in the room. The attendant of the Ning family sent Shifu into the room and looked at the young man sitting on the side, with a look of disdain in his eyes. Exiting the room, the few people did not hesitate. Cut, this kind of waste with a ninefold quenching environment is not worthy of our young lady. Who said it's not? I really don't know what the head of the family thinks. What do you think? Isn't it for the 3 characters North Town King. The King of Beijing. Just mentioning these 3 words made several attendants shiver uncontrollably, with a hint of awe on their faces. These words fell into Emily's ear, but he didn't pay much attention. He stared blankly at the bright red Shifu and 3 injection herbs in front of him, and the corners of his mouth couldn't help but twitch. I didn't expect this girl to really do what she said. Remembering the previous life. He and Ning Xuang never even had a decent wedding. When the 6-month agreement comes, it is also very natural to lift it. Thinking about 6 months later, Emily couldn't help but clench his fist and say, Ning Xuang, in this life, I will definitely not let you have anything to do in 6 months. On Ningjia Square. There is a middle-aged man wearing a luxurious brocade robe sitting in the position of the head of the household. He is about 40 years old, with a refined and easy-going appearance, and a pair of tiger eyes that are bright and majestic. Gently sipping the tea in my hand, I don't know what I'm thinking. The elder sat calmly on the side, looking at the decoration in the room with a displeased expression. He snorted coldly, Master, is it worth making a big fuss about a useless son.in.law? Elder, do you really think the head of the family is doing this for a son.in.law? The 2 elders on the side said calmly. The elder glanced at him and said, you can tell me, why are you making such a big fuss today? You'll know later, the second elder smiled slightly. As he finished speaking, a voice from the attendant came to report. Lord's mansion, Lord Nye, young lord. This is. The elder suddenly stood up from the chair, his eyes filled with surprise. Today's Ningxuang wedding, how could the lord's mansion arrive? The second elder smiled and nodded silently. 2 family master, 2 family second brother is so rare. Master of the fire family, miss of the fire family is here. The voice of the servant echoed through the entire Ningjia Square once again. The middle-aged man sitting in the head of the house stood up and welcomed him towards the door. Lord Nye. Ningyan Peak was greeted with a spring breeze and arched his hands, thank you for coming to my humble abode and attending today's wedding of my daughter Ningxuang. If it's not for Lord Ning, it's our honor to be invited. Nye Tai-lin chuckled and said. Standing next to him was a young man dressed in white, holding a white paper fan, with a haughty and arrogant demeanor, resembling a handsome young master. On the other side of him stood an old man dressed in ink clothes with a proud expression on his face. When Ning Yunfeng saw the old man, his eyebrows furrowed slightly, but when he saw 3 red lines on his chest, his face couldn't help but change. Third-grade alchemist. Lord Nye's words are ruining us. Please come in quickly. The elder smiled and welcomed Nye Tai-lin and others in. Why does Lord Ning only welcome Lord Nye? Aren't you welcoming me and Lord Hua? Not far away, a middle-aged man's voice came, filled with banditry. Ning Yunfeng looked up and said with a smile, if you're not here with Master Tu, naturally welcome. Tu Qingtian strode forward, looking full of banditry. Master Ning, I came in a hurry today and didn't bring any gifts. Please forgive me, he said. Ning Yunfeng smiled and said, where does the butcher talk? People can come. Although they didn't say anything, there was a strong smell of gunpowder between them. There is already a conflict between the butcher and the Ning families. Especially on the mineral veins, there is constant fighting among the disciples of the family. Master Hua, who are you? Ning Yunfeng was taken aback. Hua walked over with a red package in his hand and smiled, little respect, little respect. Ning Yunpeak was overjoyed and accepted the gift from Hua. Poor greeting, butcher, fire, please come in quickly. Say and make a gesture of invitation. Entering the Ning mansion, Tu Qingtian sneered and said, Master Hua, don't you want to connect with the Mo tribe? Master Tu, what do you mean? Come and eat at the banquet. If you don't give gifts, you won't be able to say it. Hua smiled and said. He naturally knows the interests involved. However, the Mo ethnic group is far away from the emperor, and it is difficult to say about Bailing City in the future. Tu Yong looked at Huolinger with a teasing expression on his face and said, hey, haven't you always liked Ningxuang? She got married today, what are you doing here? Huolinger's face darkened and she said, you have to take care of it. She just wants to see what kind of man he is, who can make Ningxuang, this ice flower, willingly marry him. Still causing a stir throughout the city. Tu Yong shrugged his shoulders. A good woman, it's okay not to like men, but she just likes women. He seemed to think of something and said, I heard that person comes from the Mo tribe. It is said that he is a waste with only 9 levels of quenched body, blocked meridians, and no blood vessels that cannot be practiced. 9 levels of quenching body. Without blood, one cannot cultivate. Huolinger's face instantly sank, and she couldn't help but clench her fist under her sleeve. How could Ningxuang fall for this kind of trash? The Tu and Hua families arrived at their location and saw Nye Tai-lin. They bowed and said, Lord Nye. Nye Tai-lin nodded with a smile as a gesture. They all took their seats one after another. The MC walked to the center of the square and shouted loudly, the wedding is starting. We invite 2 newlyweds. With a loud shout. Wearing a red wedding dress and tied with a large red embroidered ball in front of her, Mo Li appeared in front of everyone. At the same time as seeing him, there were bustling sounds around. Is he the one from the Mo tribe? It doesn't look very good, quenched 9 times. I heard he's a useless person who can't practice, I don't know if it's true or false. Nye Tai-lin glanced at Mo Li and then lost interest. It is indeed as rumored. However, one thing to pay attention to is the power behind him. Tu Qingtian smiled and said, you are truly a son.in.law from the Mo tribe. You are truly a talented person. In words, the meaning of mockery is evident. He's just a son.in.law from the Mo tribe. He's really a waste. Tu Yong's eyes were filled with disdain. I thought it was just a rumor, but I didn't expect it to be garbage in the trash. He is really a useless person without blood and cannot cultivate. Huolinger's face was gloomy, she clenched her fists and sat on the side, unsure of what she was thinking. At this moment, a beautiful figure with a phoenix crown draped in rosy clouds and red silk on its head appeared in front of everyone with the help of the woman. The two of them arrived at the center of the square together. Emoli squinted his eyes and glanced around, seeing many familiar faces that had killed Ning's family. Great, everyone is here. The MC who presided over the wedding was just about to speak. A sudden voice came, with a tone full of mockery. Is this the Sun.in.law from the Mo tribe? Quenched body with 9 layers. How can this useless person be worthy of Miss Ning? Chapter 3. I agree. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Everyone's gaze was fixed on that person, with a look of surprise in their eyes. How dare he speak shamelessly in front of Ning's family? Dare to say such words. But when they saw the person speaking clearly, their faces couldn't change. Emoli cast his gaze at the person. He is too familiar with this person, Nye Wenyuan, the son of Lord Nye. Eyes are higher than the sky, they overlook everything. Wenyuan, what are you doing? Nye Tailin's face feigned anger as he smiled and said to Ning Yunfeng, I'm sorry, Master Ning. This is my way of teaching you. Although he said that, he had no intention of stopping him at all. Ning Yunfeng's face turned pale with iron, but he dared not attack. Nye Wenyuan has a proud temperament, and he knows it. But today is the day of great joy for the Ning family, how dare he be arrogant? Nye Xiao's words are extremely accurate. How can such a useless person who cannot cultivate be worthy of the genius young lady of the Ning family? Tu Yong spoke up and said, in my opinion, only a talented person like Nye Xiao who has awakened his 4th grade bloodline can be worthy of it. Tu Qingtian surprisingly showed no intention of stopping him, pretending without any effort. The elder said in a deep voice, Master, this person's meridians are blocked and his bloodline is disabled. He is a useless person who cannot practice. In my opinion, whether we get married or not, I can't afford to lose this person. The Ning family can't afford to lose this person. Previously, the young city lord sent 3 spirit-gathering pills as betrothal gifts. But you refuse to leave the door. In my opinion, today we will drive out this Mo from the Ning family, so that Ning Shuang and the young city lord can form a good relationship. What the elder said is absolutely true. We also have this idea. Master, think twice. The elder spoke up, and several elders of the Ning family followed suit. Ning Yunfeng's face turned pale with iron. A group of people who eat inside out. Nye Wenyuan smiled and said, Uncle Ning, if you agree, the 3 spirit-gathering pills you promised earlier will still count. What do you think of adding another Ning Yuan pill? As soon as one sentence was spoken, it drew a cold breath from the audience. Juyuan Dan. This is a 2nd grade pill. The Lord's mansion's move is really big. Upon hearing this, the elder swallowed his saliva. He naturally understood the value of Ningyuan Dan, and a hint of greed unconsciously appeared in his eyes. The other elders had a look of shock in their eyes. No matter how strong the Lord's mansion is, it's not just about taking a 2nd grade condensing Yuan Dan. The preciousness of the 2nd grade Ningyuan pill can no longer be measured by money. It's just a 2nd grade Ningyuan pill, I can easily refine it, said the old man sitting beside him calmly. There was a puzzled expression on the field. Who is this person? Refine the 2nd grade pill as soon as it's said to be refined. 3rd grade alchemist. Some people have sharp eyes and can see 3 red stripes on the old man's chest at a glance. I didn't expect a skinny little old man to be a 3rd grade alchemist. Alchemist. A rare profession in the Xianxiao continent, they can turn decay into magic, burn different spiritual medicines with flames, and finally condense them into pills. Alchemists also have levels ranging from 1 to 9. Not everyone can become an alchemist, they must be a fire attribute cultivator. This is a necessary condition for becoming an alchemist. Hehe, this is my master, Mr. Jiang. Nye Wenyuan said with a smile. When it comes to Mr. Jiang, his eyes are full of pride. Jiang Lao. Upon hearing his changing expression, the elder suddenly thought to himself, is it Jiang Lao, one of the 10 elders of the Lingdan Pavilion? Nye Wenyuan nodded and said, exactly. Upon hearing the confirmed answer, I took a deep breath around. Hiss. Jiang Lao, one of the 10 elders of Lingdan Pavilion, is the master of the young city lord. Lingdan Pavilion is one of the top powers of the Tianluo dynasty. Actually, our strength is not weaker than that of the Mo tribe. Mastering the entire elixir and lifeline of the Tianluo Empire, even the royal family wants to give it a third. Those who can become one of the top 10 are not ordinary people. Hehe, it's just some empty name. The skinny old man sitting next to Nye Wenyuan touched the beard on his chin, his eyes filled with pride. I've met Mr. Jiang. The owners of the Tuhua family stood up and bowed their hands. Jiang Lao waved his hand and looked like an extraordinary expert. Master Ning, what did you say? Ning Yinfeng's face became increasingly ugly. I was planning to put some pressure on the Lord's mansion and the butcher today. Obviously, the Lord's mansion has come prepared. I didn't expect to establish a relationship with the Lingdan Pavilion and have a third-grade alchemist sitting there. This is to intimidate their Ning family, to tell them that in Bailing City, their Lord's mansion is heaven. It seems that the Tu family has a close relationship with the Lord's mansion by attacking the Ning family's veins. Ning Yunfeng clenched his fist secretly and smiled, today, my daughter is getting married. Why talk about these things? Once again, this is my daughter's choice. As a father, we can only respect her thoughts. Jiang glanced at Ning Yunfeng and said in a deep voice, what does Master Ning mean by this? Is it because he doesn't like my Lingdan Pavilion? Or is it because my Lingdan Pavilion can't compare to that Mo tribe? As soon as these words were spoken, Ning Yunfeng was greatly surprised in his heart. This old man has something to say, just hold him up. He is neither returning nor not returning now. For a moment, the air in Ningjia Square became extremely heavy. The disciples of the Ning family are not foolish either. This lord's mansion and the butcher's house are clearly targeted at their coagulation family. They hated Emoli in their hearts. Damn it, he's such a waste. He comes from the Mo tribe and was humiliated like this, yet he remained silent. I can't afford to lose this person. Hurry up and break the engagement with the eldest daughter. The Ning family can't afford to lose this person. The young lord of the city is a young and talented person among the younger generation, with a 4th-grade bloodline. At the age of 18, he is already at the 8th level of spiritual martial arts. Only by marrying him can the young lady have a bright future. Look at that useless person, their meridians are blocked, their blood vessels are disabled, and they can't practice. They should have hit me dead earlier. Waste is waste. Emoli looked at the few people and sneered in his heart. Can't we wait any more? Looking towards the elder of the Ning family again. This old dog has been deceiving me a lot in the previous life, and in this life it has been targeting me again. Do you really think I'm easy to bully? It seems that we need to leverage the reputation of the Mo ethnic group to effectively suppress you. I didn't know how to adapt in my previous life. In this life, he wants to take advantage of the situation. The frost couldn't bear it anymore and was just about to open the red silk. Is Lingdan Pavilion very solemn? Emoli looked at Mr. Jiang with a proud expression and playfully said, Mr. Jiang, you have a great face. Do you want me to tell my father? Upon hearing the voice of a young man coming from beside her, Ning Shuang froze for a moment. Jiang. Mr. Jiang. A sentence frightened everyone into silence. He's not crazy, is he? The elder was deeply afraid of angering Mr. Jiang, so he tried to provoke the Ning family again. He stood up and pointed at Mo Li's nose, cursing, "Waste, how dare you treat Mr. Jiang so unreasonably? If you don't kneel down for me, apologize to Mr. Jiang. Kneel down to your mother." Mo Li's eyes were filled with coldness. "Old miscellaneous hair, I can't afford to kneel on your knees. I can't afford to lose face. As the elder of the Ning family, you eat from the inside out, and everyone else rides on your neck to defecate. You're still smiling and laughing so happily." Ning Xuang had already harbored a wicked aura in her heart. I didn't expect Mo Li to have such sharp teeth and sharp mouth. She really vented her anger and cursed so thoroughly. "He, the husband of the Ning family has a good tongue, don't you think so, Lord Ning?" Nye Tailin chuckled lightly, and a dangerous light appeared in his eyes. Ning Yinfeng's face changed slightly. "I made Lord Nye Qing laugh." Okay. The elder's face turned pig liver red with anger, and he couldn't help but say, "Look, I won't tear your mouth today." Ning Yinfeng snorted coldly and said, "Elder, with so many people in our clan today, what kind of manners are you? Today's wedding has been disrupted like this. In the future, how can he still lift his head inside Bailing City?" Nye Wenyuan stood up and pointed his folding fan at Mo Li, saying, "You're reckless. How precious is Mr. Jiang's identity? How dare you?" Jiang was taken aback and raised his hand to stop Nye Wenyuan. Throughout the entire Tianluo dynasty, only one person dared to call him Jiang Lao Tu, and that was the second son of the Mo clan leader, Mo Li. He fixed his gaze and said, "It's you. Jiang, do you know him?" Upon hearing Nye Wenyuan's expression, a bad premonition arose in his heart. The second son of the current leader of the Mo tribe, Mo Li. Jiang took a deep breath and looked at Mo Li with more emphasis in his eyes. Today, if it were an ordinary disciple of the Mo clan, kill it, and the Mo clan would also give face to the Lingdan pavilion. But this person in front of me has a special identity. A word stirs up 1,000 waves. Hiss. The second son of the chief of the Mo tribe. Everyone took a deep breath and never expected that a useless person would have this level of identity. Not to mention the people in the field, Ning Yunfeng and the elder were all stunned. I thought the Mo tribe would have an ordinary disciple, but they never thought that the son.in.law sent by the Mo tribe would be the second son of the clan leader. The scene fell silent for a moment. The elders led by the great elder were stuck in their throats, unsure of what to say for a moment. For a moment, Ning Yunfeng's waist straightened quite a bit. The pressure originally brought by the Lord's mansion disappeared instantly. Nye Tailin clenched his fist and wondered what he was thinking. A chill surged from the bottom of Tu Cheng's eyes. The eyes of Hua narrowed slightly, as if in thought. They never imagined that a waist of quenched 9 layers would have this level of identity. Wearing a red silk frosting on his head, his eyes flickering with a strange light, he hesitated and said, "Mo Li. I didn't expect it to be you, Wenyuan, this matter is not easy to handle." Jiang Lao's voice was very soft, only he and Nye Wenyuan could hear. "Jiang Lao, I understand." Nye Wenyuan tightly clenched the folding fan in his hand, his eyes full of unwillingness. Today he could have taken off the frost. But he didn't want to give up and looked up at Mo Li. "Nye just offended me a lot. Please don't blame Mo Xiao," he said. "However, since he is the second son of the Mo clan chief, Nye has a small request today to spar with Mo Xiao." "What does Mo Xiao think?" Mo Li sneered, "Little people are like ghosts." He knew that Nye Wen didn't give up so easily. "I'll compete with you." Ning Xuang suddenly removed her red silk, which was not in accordance with the rules, but she couldn't wait any longer at this moment. The red silk was removed, revealing the exquisite makeup beneath it. Today, she applied light makeup on her face and red makeup on her lips, adding an extra touch of charm to her already cool demeanor. The captivating face caused everyone to exclaim in surprise. She truly deserves to be the first beautiful woman in Bailing City. Oh my goodness, it's too beautiful. Nie Wenyuan was even more mesmerized by what he saw. The thought of such a beautiful woman marrying such a useless person ignited his anger even more. Mo Xiao, aren't you afraid? You only know how to hide behind women. Faced with Nie Wenyuan's mockery, Mo Li didn't pay much attention and felt a little surprised. At this moment, Ning Xuang would block in front of him, and his heart couldn't help but warm. Walking forward, but being stopped by Ning Xuang, are you really going to fight him? Don't worry, I have a clear idea, said Mo Litu with a calm expression looking at the resolute figure of the young man. Ning Xuang's thoughts gradually dissipated. At that time, you were also like this watching Mo Li approach. Nie Wenyuan didn't know what he was going to do and showed a mocking expression, saying, it seems that Mo Xiao has agreed to my challenge. Today, as long as Mo Li agrees, he will definitely seriously injure Ning Xuang in front of her. No matter whether he is the second son of the Mo clan leader or not. Mo Li shrugged and said, I don't care. I have quenched my body 9 times, and your spiritual martial arts 8 times. If you hurt me today and the Mo tribe blames me, can you bear it? After speaking, a cold smile curved around the corner of my mouth. Standing there, motionless. It seems like saying, if you have the ability, come and hit me. You are not afraid of retaliation from the Mo tribe, so come. As soon as this sentence was spoken, Nie Wenyuan suddenly lost his temper. How could this person be so shameless? Angry, he clenched his fist tightly, then stretched it out and smiled. I really didn't consider it carefully. I made a mistake, this way. 6 months later, it will be the Beast Tide trial in Bailing City. If you can successfully enter the Beast Tide trial, even if you win, I will lose you 3 soul-gathering pills. If you can't, you will be considered a loss. You voluntarily terminate your engagement with Ning Xuang and will never appear in Bailing City. The Beast Tide trial is just a cover. As long as Mo Li agrees, he has 10,000 ways to play dead Mo Li. If he cannot enter, he will lose directly. Even if he can truly meet the requirements and enter the Beast Tide trial, he will definitely not let Mo Li leave alive. I disagree. Ning Xuang's face showed a warm and angry expression, and her eyes were filled with coldness. Nie Xiao, please take it seriously. I am not your bet. Seeing a beauty is different, even when angry, it's so beautiful. Now in Bailing City, no one knows, Mo Li's bloodline is disabled, and it is impossible to step into the Lingwu realm in this lifetime. To enter the Beast Tide trial, one must reach the 4th level of Lingwu. I agree. A voice came from beside Ning Xuang. Ning Xuang looked at him in surprise, somewhat incredulous as to why he agreed. Laughter echoed around. Laughing to death, he thought he could participate in the Beast Tide trial as the second son of the clan leader. What does he consider that to be? Just enter if he wants to. Those who don't know are fearless. Waste is waste. Waste that cannot be cultivated can always come up with unexpected answers. Beast Tide trial, Mo Li has heard of it in his past life. Based on the cultivation in previous lives, let alone whether one can enter or not. Even if one enters the Beast Tide trial, it is only the food for the demon beasts. Okay. Nie Wenyuan didn't listen to Ning Xuang's words at all. As a witness, today I made an agreement with Mo Li that if Mo Li reaches the 4th level of Lingwu and enters the Beast Tide trial in 6 months, he will be considered the winner. Otherwise, I will win. Please also have Uncle Ning, the head of the Tu and Hua families, as witnesses. Tu Yong stood up first and said, okay, I'll give Nie Xiao a witness. Elder Ning of the Ning family stood by and also spoke out, I also want to be a witness. No one present believed that Mo Li could fulfill this bet. In their eyes, Mo Li is just a waste that cannot be cultivated. Why did you agree to him? Ning Xuang's face turned pale. They had signed a 6-month contract, and Mo Li and she would eventually terminate the engagement. Although outsiders may not know, discerning people know what Nye Wenyuan's intention is. There's no reason, I just don't like him, Emily replied with a smile. Ningxuang was infuriated by his answer, you. But there is no doubt about it now. Nye Wenyuan smiled and looked at Emily, as if he was looking at a fool. Mo Xiao, I hope you can reach the 4th level of Lingwu in 6 months. When that time comes, you will be considered a loser. Don't blame me, he said, don't bother you. Emily yawned and glanced at the MC beside him. Can the wedding be held now? Frost froze for a moment. What is this guy thinking in his mind? He's thinking of paying respects at this moment. Then he reluctantly covered his head with red silk. Let's start, he whispered softly. The MC spoke up and said, the auspicious time has arrived, pay respects. A bow to heaven and earth is stronger than gold. 2 bows to the high hall, white heads together. Sanbai's husband and wife bow to each other and send them to the bridal chamber. Emily seemed unaffected by those people at all, holding a red rope with Ningxuang, bowing to heaven and earth, and to the high hall. The 2 of them bowed to each other. Seeing Emily unaffected, Ning Yunfeng couldn't help but look up at him. Chapter 4. Dare not, what are you pretending to be? You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After successfully bowing in, Emily accompanied the woman and sent Ningxuang back to the east courtyard. Nye Wen looked away at the 2 people, his eyes gradually becoming sinister. The left hand under the table tightly grips the fan. Arriving at the entrance of the east courtyard, Emily stopped and Ningxuang, who was being supported, paused. I'll go back first. After speaking, Emily turned around and walked towards the west courtyard. Frost lifted the red silk, her beautiful eyes fixed on the desolate figure, and a hint of smile appeared in her beautiful eyes. Emily also wanted to step into the bridal chamber, but the 2 never truly got married. He naturally cannot do anything out of line, even if he wants to, his heart is spare but his strength is insufficient. The strength of Ningxuang is unbearable for him to withstand even a single move. Sure enough, it's still strength. Stop. Approaching the west courtyard, 3 young men dressed in ninja costumes blocked his way. You were quite arrogant just now. How dare you publicly humiliate my grandfather? How dare you make a bet with the young lord? The young leader embraced him with both hands, looking arrogant and domineering. Waste, I advise you to be sensible and terminate your engagement with the young lady as soon as possible. Now, cut off your arm, kneel down and kowtow your head 3 times. Forget about this, otherwise I will break your hands and feet now. At the age of 15, he was the grandson of the elder of the Ning family, Ning Quebec. Oh, it turns out to be the grandson of that old dog, little dog. Emily sneered. In his past life, this guy used his identity to bully him. Encountering him again in this life will naturally give him a good face. How dare you scold the lack of dogs? One of the dog legs lifted his hand and slapped Emily's face. Emily's face darkened, he lifted his foot and kicked him in the heart. Get lost. Another lackey saw this and said, I'm looking for death. Emily punched with a backhand, hitting the other lackey in the heart. With one move, the 2 dog legs instantly collapsed on the ground. Damn it. So unbreakable. In the last life, I was really obsessed and bullied by such things. Both of them are not strong in strength, they are both hardened and have 9 levels of strength. They are used to following Ning K's side all day and showing off their strength. Waste Sun. In law, how dare you fight back? Ning raised his hand and hit Molly. Emily's eyes turned cold and he said, you have the guts, you can fight today. Seeing Emily unable to dodge, Ning K recalled his grandfather's warning and coldly snorted, retracting his hand. A feeling of emptiness and strength, hitting cotton. Seeing his appearance, Emily sneered and flipped his hand to slap him in the face. I dare not hit him, what are you pretending to be? You. Ning Ke gritted his teeth and wished he could slap Mo Li to death. Mo Li flipped his hand and slapped him in the face again. What are you, Ning Quebec? I think you might as well call him, Xin Yen. How dare you hit me? Ning Ke was completely angry, clenched his fist, and a gleam appeared on his fist. Lingwu triple. Mo Li sneered and handed his head over, come on, hit this. Konink clenched his fist from beginning to end without any intention of making a move. Dare not. Mo Li's eyes were sharp, and he coldly shouted, if you dare not, go away. Lift your feet and walk into the west courtyard. Damn son. Law, he said with a punch on the nearby tree trunk, unable to hold his breath. The more I thought about it, the more angry I became, and I kicked 2 dog legs on the ground. Don't pretend to be dead, go back to me. Go back inside the house. Mo Li sat on the bed, feeling a bit angry for the previous life today. But he knew it was only temporary. The Mo tribe has abandoned him, he is now just a chess piece. If he dies in the Ning mansion, they will come and turn it upside down, using this reason to find what they want. Now he must improve his own strength as soon as possible. The primary goal is to repair blood vessels. In this world where martial arts are paramount, blood is the foundation of cultivation. Only by awakening the level of one's bloodline can one determine how far one can go in the future. Without bloodline, he will just be a useless person. I will never be able to step into the ranks of cultivators in this lifetime, and can only be an ordinary warrior. In the Xianqiao continent, cultivators have different realms, including the Quenched Body Realm, Lingwu Realm, Yuanwu Realm, Xuanwu Realm, Jinwu Realm, and Tianwu Realm. Each realm is divided into 9 levels. Quenching the body is the foundation of cultivation. Only by practicing until the 9th level of quenching the body can one awaken one's bloodline. Only blood can absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into the elixir field. Blood vessels also have levels, ranging from 1st to 9th grade. The 1st grade blood is the least common, while the 9th grade blood is the strongest. Others don't know how to recover, so Mo Li naturally knows, and that secret is hidden in his dantian. Adjust your breathing. Having had a lifetime of experience and no bloodline, he was able to introduce spiritual energy into the elixir field. I hope these 3 plants can feed you enough. Cross your fingers, spread your hands out, and hang them on your chest. Place 3 misty plants of spiritual herbs at the intersection of your fingers. With every breath and every breath, spiritual energy gradually drifted out from within the spiritual herb. Following Mo Li's mouth, nose, and pores, he began to enter his body. When first entering the body, the spiritual energy is uncontrollably rushing around. As Mo Li muttered words in his mouth, those spiritual energies unexpectedly entered the dantian along a small meridian that blocked it. As soon as the black jade comes into contact with spiritual energy, it makes a sound of chewing food. Like a child who has been starving for a long time and has finally tasted milk, sucking heavily. In no time, the spiritual energy inside the 3 spiritual herbs was completely consumed. The black jade has returned to calmness once again. Mo Li was not in a hurry, patiently waiting for feedback from the jade. Everything in front of me is the same as in the previous life. At this moment, a drop of pure liquid flowed out of the black jade. When Mo Li saw the drop of liquid, he smiled happily and said, "Here we go." Pure liquid, wrap the dantian inside. Dantian greedily devoured this drop of pure liquid, and a tingling sensation surged in Mo Li's mind. Suddenly, a huge force rushed out from the jade and impacted Mo Li's consciousness. Power constantly surges and changes, ultimately turning into obscure words, ancient and vicissitudes. A large amount of knowledge that did not belong to Mo Li's mind flooded into his mind. Floating slaughter for 10,000 lives, floating slaughter for 10,000 lives. Based on the foundation of floating slaughter, cultivating the root of all laws, being a floating person, recognizing as a butcher, seizing the creation of heaven and earth, refining all things in heaven and earth, condensing the flesh and blood, and walking the path of floating slaughter, floating butcher's art of creation. Magnificent and majestic, profound and timeless. Floating butcher's art of creation. Before Mo Li could be happy for 2 seconds, a powerful impact struck, causing his heart and mind to lose control. His consciousness was uncontrollable at this moment, and his eyes darkened when he woke up again. Mo Li appeared on a huge platform. Although it's not the first time entering here, it's still as stunning as entering here for the first time. The platform is vast and boundless, suspended in mid-air. Surrounded by stars and a vast expanse of space, it feels as if one is immersed in an extraterrestrial starry sky. On the platform, there stand 13 huge towering stone pillars. A huge black iron chain extends from each stone pillar, with black crisscrossing and intertwined, converging towards the center point. This scene appears somewhat eerie and terrifying. When Mo Li entered the previous life, he didn't dare to go deeper, he only dared to stay here. This time he wants to see what is in the center of these 13 stone pillars. Mo Li took a deep breath and walked towards the 13 stone pillars. Just 3 steps away, the pitch-black platform around me strangely lit up at this moment. Mo Li saw clearly the 13 stone pillars in front of him. The stone pillar is immensely huge and stands tall in the sky. Each stone pillar was pitch black, and something could be vaguely seen jumping on it. Mo Li is closer, it's actually runes. These runes emit waves of pressure, as if the heavens and earth are intimidating. Glancing around, all 13 stone pillars have such runes. What kind of person can leave such a terrifying presence in a small piece of jade? Mo Li swallowed. Now is not the time to lament. Setting aside his thoughts, Mo Li walked towards the center where the chains converged. Senior, can you show up and meet me? Chapter 5. Black Snake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A voice came from above, with a hint of surprise in its tone. You actually know my existence. Still in that familiar voice, the ink curls slightly from the corner of my mouth. Senior, from the moment I entered this world, I was able to perceive your presence. Mo Li naturally cannot tell the truth. I can't tell him about my lifelong life. You're quite calm. I was not surprised by the scene in front of me, but it surprised me a bit, said the voice with a hint of approval. After finishing speaking, the voice paused and suddenly said, what a weak body, it can be described as garbage. Has my blood been taken away? My meridians are blocked. Quenching my body into 9 layers. It's simply unbearable. Damn it, why did this thing choose you? Mo Li. Feeling speechless for a moment, this senior still belittled him like in his previous life, rendering him useless. Senior, since it chose me, it indicates that I have something special. Mo Li took a deep breath and said, it's my senior who hides himself in the darkness. Aren't you afraid to face it? Faced with Mo Li's irony, the voice burst into laughter and said, interesting kid. Since you want to see me, I'll show you, don't be scared to pee, kid. As the sound fell, a dragon chant echoed through the entire space. Deafening. Mo Li suppressed his fear, and he could clearly sense the pressure from his bloodline. From this dragon chant, Mo Li was already able to imagine the scene of a fierce monster rushing out. Sure enough. A figure kept approaching before Mo Li's eyes. Here we go. Under strong pressure, the foot that wanted to retreat, Mo Li stared fixedly at the phantom. The gentle breeze brushed against his cheeks, and Mo Li widened his eyes, staring at the creatures floating in mid-air. Ah! He couldn't associate the creature in front of him with the strong aura just now. I saw this creature all pitch black, with a slender body and a small head held high. On both sides of the head were a pair of snake eyes the size of mung beans. How are you, aren't you scared, kid? Black Snake. Mo Li was startled. There is clearly a small black snake in front of me, or a black snake that can be easily crushed. Damn it, how could I have been fooled by such a thing in my past life? What black snake? Where did the black snake come from? Your whole family is black snakes. The black snake became angry and said, Dragon Lord is a dragon, a noble black dragon. You fart. Mo pointed at the black snake and said, Do you think I'm blind? You're clearly a black snake, or a very lewd one. The black snake twisted its body and extended its claws. Have you ever seen a snake with such powerful and majestic dragon claws? Don't compare me to that kind of low-level monster. Wait. Suddenly, it seemed to realize something. Damn it, where are my powerful and majestic claws, and the majestic dragon scales on my body? Mo's eyes widened to the fullest and leaned against the black snake. Oh, I saw it. Wow, it's so exquisite. On the dark body of the little black snake, there is indeed a claw that is so small that it cannot be seen without careful examination. You're insulting me. The black snake had a fierce gaze and wrapped around Mo's neck. It must have been because I've been trapped here for too long and my spiritual energy has been depleted, which is why I've become like this, it said. Mo patted the body of the black snake, his face turning red. You strangle me, and you don't want to leave this haunted place. Humph, without strangling you, with your strength, you won't be able to unlock this seal. Although he said that, Black Snake's body was very honest and he let go of Mo. Being able to freely enter this space is clearly gaining recognition for it. Being trapped for so long, this kid is indeed the first person to enter here. Cough. Mo coughed lightly twice before breathing more comfortably. My strength is weak now, but... As he spoke, his voice paused, arousing the curiosity of the black snake. I saw Mo's thoughts flicker, and a gilded ancient book full of simplicity, weightiness, and timeless aura hung above his head. The black snake was shocked and turned pale. My body circled around the ancient book, feeling the power brought by the words, floating. Floating Butcher's Art of Creation. Kid, how could you have this divine book? Mo informed him of the previous incident, and Black Snake suddenly realized, Dragon Master understands. No wonder this artifact chose you. It was this book against heaven that chose you. Kid, don't let a third person know about this book. As the conversation changed, the black snake suspended in front of Mo's eyes with a solemn tone, otherwise, those people will definitely tear open your mind. Understood. Mo took a deep breath and nodded. Refine all things in heaven and earth, reshape blood vessels, and seize the creation of heaven and earth. He would never live in this world if other people knew about this incredible cultivation technique. Well, as long as you understand, since you have obtained this skill, let's practice it well. The black snake finished speaking and swam towards the darkness. Mo looked at the back of the black snake and bowed respectfully, Can you help me? As soon as these words were spoken, the black snake's body paused and did not turn back. You have this heaven-defying technique, where else do you need my help? Since you know this skill, you must know the conditions for reshaping your bloodline. Mo said. What if I know? It's related to me. Black Snake said coldly, Why did I help you? Can you help you get out of here? Mo knew that the snake was very stubborn, and he also knew that the demon race was naturally hostile to the human race. Or to say, you're not a dragon at all, you're really a snake. The black snake transformed into a black phantom and stopped in front of Mo. Kid, you have successfully angered me. It's not that it doesn't want to leave this haunted place. Staying in this haunted place for a day will result in a decrease in spiritual energy in the body. Being able to transform into this appearance, it also knows what's going on. It's estimated that it won't last long and will fall into this world. However, the human race is not trustworthy. Back then, I was framed by the human race and imprisoned in this haunted place. Since you want my dragon blood as the foundation, it depends on whether you can bear it or not. The black snake's body moves upstream, constantly expanding as it swims. The whole body rapidly enlarged in Mo Li's eyes, transforming into a black dragon that was tens of zhang long, wandering under the starry sky. The giant dragon is covered in black scales and armor, with 9 equally sized 3-clawed dragon claws beneath its massive body. Wisps of black flames rose up and wrapped around it, emitting a cold and gloomy aura. The black dragon was perched in mid-air, with a pair of dragon horns soaring into the sky and a pair of deep and dark dragon eyes, as if it could see through everything. Roar! The black dragon let out a deep and powerful dragon chant from its mouth. Staring at Mo Li with both eyes, devoid of emotion, as if contemptuous of all living beings in the world. It is awe-inspiring and frightening. Mo Li stared blankly at the black dragon and murmured, "He didn't lie to me." Immediately, my heart was filled with joy. A towering building starts with its foundation. If you want to go further in the future, the foundation is the most important. In the previous life, I suffered from the loss of my bloodline. First-grade bloodline, the improvement of strength is too slow. Nowadays, with dragon veins as the foundation, why bother not build tall buildings on the ground? Kid, pick it up. A mysterious and powerful pressure converged from around the black dragon. Its internal chi and blood surged, eventually condensing a pure dragon blood at the dragon's mouth, mixed with rich dragon power, enveloped in black flames and filled with the blood pressure of the dragon clan. The black dragon opened its mouth and a pure stream of dragon blood shot out from its mouth. The essence and blood burst out, and as soon as they made contact with Mo Li's body, they mysteriously entered his body. At the moment of ejaculation of blood essence, the black dragon's breath rapidly contracted, and its body continued to shrink, transforming back into the shape of a black snake. Mo Li sat in the center of 13 stone pillars, motionless, like an old monk meditating. The black snake was a bit weak, looking at Mo Li sitting cross-legged. "Kid, I hope you can make it through." Chapter 6. First Class Bloodline. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mo Li noticed a strange burning sensation surging up inside his body. In the originally pitch-black pupils, a strange black flame danced. Ha! Taking a light breath, Mo Li unexpectedly exhaled a cloud of white mist from his mouth. Hot. It's so hot. Mo Li felt hot and dry all over his body, and his exposed skin turned red, with black flames flooding his entire body at this moment. The entire skin, muscles, bones, and meridians seemed to be torn apart, and shattered. There seemed to be thousands of true flames burning inside, trying to turn him into ashes. Roar! A resounding and powerful dragon cry emanated from within. The thick and rustic atmosphere lingers at this moment, with a very heavy aura. The black flame instantly quieted down, no longer carrying the burning sensation. Floating Butcher's Art of Creation. Mo Li exclaimed in surprise. The floating butcher technique operates automatically. Dragon blood flows steadily along the 7 meridians and 8 meridians, with all 4 limbs and bones wandering around. The internal tearing and deep pain surged into Mo Li's mind. At this moment, Mo Li realized that his meridians were like strands of hair, congested with impurities, which could be described as unbearable. In the black flame, with the power of the dragon clan's bloodline, it forcefully washes open the blocked meridians. Black and filthy substances are excreted from the body through the pores. The air suddenly became extremely foul-smelling. Wash the marrow and hair. Dragon blood flows along the meridians and enters the damaged blood vessels. With the continuous erosion of dragon blood and black flames, the damaged blood vessels gradually begin to repair. The original strength of the 9th level body was once again reduced to the 1st level body, and eventually became an ordinary person. Re-quenched. Relying on the power of dragon blood, start quenching again. With the successful repair of blood vessels in his body, Mo Li's breath began to climb. Quenched body weight, quenched double, quenched triple, until it soared to the 9th weight of the quenched body. There was no intention of stopping. At the Mo spinal cord, a blood vein composed of dragon blood is reshaped and connected to the dantian. Dragon bloodline. Mo only felt a large spiritual energy from the outside, following his limbs and bones, breathing and inhaling, entering his body, and entering the dragon veins along his spine. The dragon's veins emit waves of dragon chants, fully condensing that spiritual energy and ultimately sending it into the elixir field. The spiritual energy enters the dantian, forming a spiritual energy cyclone. This is the symbol of stepping into the Lingwu realm. In an instant, a whirlwind formed around Mo's body, and a strong aura erupted from his body. The breath surged with it. Lingwu Chong. Success. Mo's eyes suddenly opened, feeling the spiritual energy cyclone in the dantian. His eyes were filled with joy. Lingwu is one level. He didn't expect to break through directly to the level of Lingwu. Is this the dragon vein? Feeling the blood in his body surging and flowing at this moment, Mo grinned. Black Snake hesitated and said, I didn't expect this kid to succeed. Just like in the previous life, it still has the attribute of wind. Mo frowned and said, just. Why is it still a first-class bloodline? Feeling the changes inside my body, I found that, like in my previous life, it still has a wind attribute and belongs to a special attribute. In the Xianxiao continent, when each person steps into the Lingwu realm, they will also awaken their internal attributes. The normal attributes are gold, wood, water, fire, and earth, with 5 attributes. Few people will awaken attributes beyond these 5, wind, thunder, and ice. Then, when Mo noticed his bloodline, he was dumbfounded. Still the weakest bloodline of the 1st grade. Previous life. Absorbed is the bloodline of 1 layer of Lingwu demon beast, and the reshaped bloodline is of the 1st grade. In this lifetime, what we have absorbed is the blood of the dragon race. Why is it still of the 1st grade? Little Black Snake, you're not lying to me, are you? Are you really a snake? Grass, don't insult me, can you? Black Snake angrily said, feel your current physical body and talk to me again. Just re-quenching the body consumes almost all the power of dragon blood. It's not a matter of blood vessels, it's because your body is too weak. Mo knows his own body better than anyone else. Nowadays, the level of physical strength is equivalent to that of a demon beast with 3 levels of spiritual and martial strength. It seems that you haven't fully understood the techniques you are practicing, said Black Dragon. What does it mean? Mo did not read it carefully. This skill is not just about reshaping blood vessels, it can improve your blood vessel level. Boost your bloodline level. Mo widened his eyes and breathed quickly. Yes, you need to constantly refine the demon beast's bloodline, allowing this dragon vein in your body to devour and refine, in order to advance. Black Snake said, improving the bloodline realm sounds tempting, but with the current needs of your dragon veins, the lowest level of the demon beast bloodline level you need to devour and refine is also the Yuanwu realm. As your bloodline level increases, the requirements for refined bloodline levels become higher. The words of the Black Snake are like a bowl of cold water, poured directly from the top of the head with ink. Yuanwu realm. A hint of bitterness appeared at the corner of Mo's mouth. His current Lingwu level strength, in front of the great demon in the Yuanwu realm, is to die directly. Don't be discouraged either, crises come with benefits. Black Dragon said, if you can elevate to the 2nd level bloodline, your physical body and realm will be greatly improved. But don't be too happy too early either. Boosting your bloodline is not as simple as you think. Look at those 13 stone pillars. What does it mean? Mo frowned and looked up. One of the 13 stone pillars lit up, and strangely enough, only the bottom of the pillar lit up, while the top remained black. What's going on here? Mo asked inexplicably. These 13 stone pillars represent 13 blood vessels. Black Dragon said lightly, that is to say, you can have 13 bloodlines by relying on the floating butcher technique, but... When he first heard 13 blood vessels, Mo Li took a deep breath. Having 13 bloodlines, he had never heard of them before, never seen them before. I have heard that there once appeared a strong person in the Xianxiao continent who had 3 blood vessels in his body. But that's just a legend. The entire Tianluo dynasty has never seen anyone with 2 bloodlines. But what, said Black Snake, but Mo Li's face changed, but your first bloodline is my Dragon Clan bloodline. From now on, every time you open a bloodline, either it is the same as me or it exceeds the power of my bloodline. The Black Snake chuckled. My grass, didn't you just say it? Mo Li blurted out, so angry that he wanted to curse his mother. You didn't ask again. Black Snake played a prank and immediately changed his tone. Kid, I'll tell you something else. From now on, you need to constantly devour your blood vessels to enhance the power of your dragon veins. Light up all these pillars, otherwise you will suffer from the pillars' backlash. You only have 3 years. What does that mean? Mo Li's breath froze. Suffering from stone pillar backlash. Only 3 years. It means literally. Black Snake looked at Mo Li and said seriously, it may not be a good thing for you to gain recognition for this thing. Alright, Dragon Lord, I'm going to bed now. Don't disturb me if you're okay. Mo Li was lost in thought as he recalled what Black Snake had said. That is to say, if the stone pillar is not fully lit up in 3 years, he will die. No wonder it didn't help him in his past life. Although it can reshape one's bloodline, it requires consuming a large amount of bloodline for improvement. With his current strength and influence, it is difficult to elevate one's level. Mo Li lifted his head and looked at the shining stone pillar. And there are 12 sections of the stone pillar that have not been lit up. Silent for a long time, Mo Li clenched his fist, took a deep breath, and a hint of firmness appeared in his eyes. A first-class bloodline is always stronger than nothing. 2 lives of hatred, his ink will repay. He has nothing to lose now. If God gives him another chance, he must seize it. By the way, little snake, what kind of demon beast are you in? Mo Li asked. I developed a strong curiosity about this little black snake. Black Snake didn't even lift his eyelids. Kid, don't ask around. Your strength is too weak now. When you reach it, I will naturally tell you. Asking too many questions now won't benefit you. Also, don't call me little snake, call me Dragon Lord. Mo Li nodded and stopped asking further questions. As for the last sentence, Mo Li completely ignored it. Squeezing his fist and feeling the explosive force emanating from his body, Mo Li's eyes froze. Mo Chinchou, we'll see you in a year and a half. Chapter 7. Xingyi Fist. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mo Li woke up in the jade space. Stretching lazily, I was moving my slightly stiff joints. Now that your strength has reached the level of Lingwu, it's time to cultivate your martial arts skills. Martial arts, a powerful means of attack. It can release spiritual energy from the body in a special way, achieving unexpected effects. To cultivate martial arts skills, one must reach the level of Lingwu. And there are also good and bad martial arts skills, ranging from 1st to 9th grade. The 1st and 3rd grades are considered inferior, while the 7th and 9th grades are considered superior. Above the top level, it is divided into Huangjia, Xuangjia, Dijia, Tianjia, and also into junior high and senior high levels. Among the 3 major families in Bailing City, not to mention superior martial arts, there are only a few intermediate martial arts skills, most of which are inferior. That's why martial arts are very precious. Mo Li touched his chin, recalling the martial arts he had practiced in his previous life in his mind. Got it. 4th grade fist technique, Xingyi Fist. The figure of an old man emerged in Mo Li's mind. Mo Li only feels a double sense of familiarity. In the previous life, if it weren't for this old man, he would have died long ago in the Beast Mountain range. Thanks to the blessings of his elderly family, he was able to absorb the bloodline of a demon beast in Lingwu and step back into cultivation. This Xingyi fist is exactly what the old man taught. Thinking of this, Mo Li's mind seemed to echo the old man's voice once again. Remember, young man, Xingyi fist is domineering. To fight against the law, one must first reach the upper body, align hands and feet in order to be true. The body is like a wandering dragon, the fist is like a fierce cannon, and when encountering enemies, it is like burning oneself with fire. Mo Li's eyes narrowed slightly, his palms propped up, and he jumped up like a carp, standing steadily. I don't know when I'll see him again, he said, closing his eyes. Mo Li recalled every move of the Xingyi fist technique. Xingyi fist, 4th grade fist technique. Divide into 3 parts. 1 fold, in form, with visible light. Double, for the sake of meaning, light is for the sake of meaning. Triple, with both form and meaning, punching like a tiger, imposing like a cannon, and terrifying power. After achieving great success, it can be compared to 5th grade martial arts skills. The 3 layers of Xingyi fist, known as Ningjia, have been practiced to this point and are considered minor achievements. Only by comprehending the hidden power in the form and meaning fist can one achieve great success. Only by overlapping light and dark can one be considered complete. Mo Li exclaimed in disbelief, how could the floating butcher technique automatically operate? The sudden change stunned Mo Li. The floating butcher creation technique automatically operates, allowing spiritual energy to flow through the body along the path of the fist technique. Can't it help with cultivation? Mo Li's face lit up with joy as he felt the spiritual energy constantly converging towards his arms. This change confirmed what he had in mind. Drink. With a loud roar, Mo Li punched with a powerful and heavy head. The fist is like a fierce tiger, with a fierce momentum, charging forward and unleashing unparalleled strength. Bomb! A muffled sound emanates from the void. This punch stirred up a gust of wind and made a hunting sound. This is just hitting the air. If it were to hit the flesh, the consequences would be unimaginable. Second time. Mo Li's eyes were filled with joy. Looking back on the previous life, after practicing for half a year, I was barely able to use the second level. With the help of the floating butcher technique in this life, with just one punch, one can unleash the second level of meaning. It's just that Mo Li couldn't figure out why in the previous life, this floating butcher technique wasn't as useful. Without thinking about anything else, Mo Li tirelessly continued to punch. The sound of hunting and the muffled sound of fists hitting the air can be heard in the jade and stone space inside the Ningjia conference hall. Ning bowed and said, "Father, I have something to talk about." Ning Yunfeng frowned in confusion and said, "What's going on?" "I have divorced Mo, he is the son-in-law of my Ning family, but a disciple of my Ning family." Ning Shuang's gaze was burning, and she asked seriously. "It can also be considered." The elder looked curiously at Ning Shuang. I don't know what she means by asking these questions. Okay, since he is a disciple of our Ning family, he has the qualification to enter the ancestral temple of the Ning family. Ning Shuang said. Since she agreed to Mo Li, she will do it. Ning Yunfeng squinted his eyes and glanced at Ning Shuang, feeling lost in thought. The elders of the Ning family suddenly turned cold when they heard that Mo Li was going to enter the ancestral temple of the Ning family. It is impossible for an outsider to enter the ancestral temple of the Ning family. Ning Shuang, do you know what you're talking about? The elders' eyes were gloomy, staring tightly at Ning Shuang. Ning Shuang knows. Ning Shuang stood up firmly, without any fear of that gaze. The elder slapped the table and said, "Nonsense. Is the ancestral temple of the Ning family a person of a different surname who can easily enter? Who knows, that kid surnamed Mo, what's in his heart? The elders within the clan, led by the Great Elder, spoke out in condemnation. No way, there has never been such a precedent for outsiders entering the ancestral temple of the Ning family. If outsiders are really allowed to enter the ancestral temple of the Ning family, how would you have the face to meet the ancestors of the Ning family if you let our old bones go underground? Even the second elder, who usually maintains the frost, fell silent at this moment. The Ning family has had rules for generations, and outsiders are not allowed to enter the Ning family ancestral temple. This matter cannot be broken. Ningxuang looked at the elders with convoluted thoughts, biting their teeth lightly and speaking in a cold tone. Today I married him, and he has invaded my Ningjia family, which is my Ningjia family. What's wrong with him? Is it my coagulation family who has invaded my coagulation family? The elder's voice sank, his eyes filled with sarcasm. A waste from the Mo tribe also wants to enter my Ning family ancestral temple. It's really ridiculous. I don't recognize him as my family member. Ningxuang was so angry that his liver trembled. The elder just said that if someone invades the Ningjia family, it can be considered his Ningjia family, but now he says it's not. Ning Yunfeng, who had been silent all along, scanned the hall and his gaze finally fell on his own daughter. He knows best who Ningxuang is. She was able to make such a request, naturally with her reasons. Ningxuang, are you serious about this matter? Ningxuang arched her hand and said, returning to my father, naturally I am serious. Okay, let me ask you, how have you done with that matter? Ning Yunfeng nodded and asked. Returning to his father, he has agreed, which is one of his demands. Ningxuang answered truthfully. She naturally knew what her father was asking. Ning Yunfeng said, okay, I agree to this matter. In one sentence, Ningxuang's eyes lit up. The elder's face turned pale with anger as he stood up and said, Ningyan Peak, this kind of waste can also enter the ancestral temple of the Ning family. The Ning family will eventually be defeated by you. Seeing Ning Yunfeng's attitude, he immediately clenched his fist and said, okay, I also agree for him to enter the Ning family ancestral temple, but there is one condition. Ningxuang was a bit surprised, but when she thought about the conditions, she knew that the elder had not held back any good fart. Elder, please speak up. The elder said in a deep voice, in a month, the Ning family will compete. If he can reach the top 5, I will no longer stop him from entering the Ning family ancestral temple. We also agree. Several elders who were with the elder spoke in unison. Elder, you. Frost and shortness of breath. No one in Ning Mansion knows, no one knows. Mo Li only has the strength to quench his body with 9 layers. To achieve the top 5, at least 4 levels of Lingwu strength are required. I also agree. Ningyan Peak said lightly. Even you, father. Ningxuang looked at her father incredulously. The elder was taken aback and didn't know what medicine was sold in the gourd of Ningyan Peak. If outsiders were to easily enter the ancestral temple, it would be difficult to convince the public. I think Elder Da's proposal is feasible, said Ning Yunfeng. Alright, there's no need to say more, that's how it's decided. The sun rises 3 poles. The tightly closed door of the west courtyard slowly opens. Mo Li rubbed his arms, although there were bursts of muscle-tearing pain, a faint smile appeared on his face. The dual meaning can be easily used, while the dual elements of the triple form and meaning can only be reluctantly used. If I continue to practice like this, I estimate that there will be no more results. The only way to improve is to fight against monsters. Thinking of this, Mo Li clenched his fist. He is now running out of time and needs to seize it. Goo. Just as I was thinking about it, there was a faint sound coming from my stomach. Mo Li rubbed his crumpled belly. I'm a bit hungry. He hasn't eaten yet since he started practicing boxing in the morning. Man is iron, rice is steel. To seek revenge, one must also have a full stomach. Mo Li walked towards the Ning family canteen. The Ning family canteen is the place where the disciples of the Ning family eat, having 3 meals a day here. Even Miss Ning is no exception. Just arrived at the Ning family canteen. 2 disciples dressed in ninja costumes walked towards them. Mo Li recognized the 2 at a glance. A bird of a feather with Ning deficiency, always calling each other brothers and sisters, one named Ning Xiang and the other Ning Air. They also saw Mo Li and quickly stopped him. Ning Xiang sneered, "Useless son.in.law, how do you want to come to the cafeteria for dinner? Do you deserve to eat? That's right, these dishes are just thrown away and fed to the dog. You're not worth eating, you useless person." Ning Air agreed. Mo Li dug out his ear and said, "It seems like you're not eating too much. You want to die. How dare you call us dogs?" Ning Xiang pointed at Mo Li's nose and said arrogantly, "Yesterday you dared to take action against me. The commotion here has attracted many disciples of the Ning family who have just come out of the cafeteria and arrived there. Ning Xiang is bullying people again. You deserve it, useless son.in.law. You didn't see the arrogance at yesterday's wedding. Teach him a lesson and suppress his arrogance. If it's a waste, just shrink it. I don't know what he thinks, dare to bet with the young lord. There's a good show to watch. Can this useless son.in.law support Ning Xiang's punch? Ning Xiang is a spiritual and martial artist, and he can't even get a punch to make him defecate." There were constant discussions around, all watching Mo Li's jokes. Mo Li, pointed by Ning Xiang, suddenly had a cold look in his eyes and grabbed Ning Xiang's finger. The powerful force twisted Ning Xiang's face and he half knelt down. "Waste, you let go, otherwise I'll hit you half paralyzed." Fingers, one of the most vulnerable parts of the human body. 10 fingers connected to one's heart, now being torn apart by Mo Li, the sour and refreshing feeling is self-evident. Who gave you the courage? Mo Li raised his eyebrows, and the strength in his hands increased slightly. Ning Xiang seemed unaware that the useless son.in.law in his heart was different from yesterday. "You his mother, loosen it for me, punk." Before he could finish speaking, a piercing pain penetrated his mind again. Ning Air, beat him up quickly. Ning Air, who was stunned in place, finally realized and raised his hand to hit Mo Li. "Let go, do you hear me?" Mo Li glared at him, lifted his foot, and kicked Ning Air in the abdomen. Ah! Ning Air felt that she was not kicked, but was knocked out by a monster. The whole person fell back 4 or 5 meters, collapsed on the ground, arched into a shrimp shape, with a face full of pain. What? Ning Xiang's mind is empty. How could it be possible? Ning Air is the first level of Lingwu strength. Immediately, Ning Xiang noticed that there was a slight fluctuation of spiritual energy on Mo Li's body, and he exclaimed in surprise. "You are a spiritual warrior." Chapter 8. First Battle. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Lingwu Yichong. Isn't it quenched body Jiuchong? Impossible, it's not because his blood vessels are incomplete or blocked. Can he cultivate? Impossible, Ning Xiang must have misread. Being able to repel Ning Air can only be considered good luck for him. It's clear that Ning Air was not on guard and was attacked by him. If we start a fight, he will definitely not be able to defeat Ning Air. Hearing Ning Xiang's exclamation around, his face showed a look of surprise, and he couldn't help but feel puzzled. Mo Li's physical condition is within the Ning family. No, the entire Bailing city is not a secret. A son.in.law from the Mo tribe, with disabled blood vessels and blocked meridians, is a waste that cannot be cultivated. It is such a useless person who has been judged as unable to cultivate and step into the level of spiritual martial arts in this life, who has stepped into the level of spiritual martial arts. How could this not raise doubts from the disciples of the Ning family? No one can repair the damaged and incomplete blood vessels throughout the entire Tianluo dynasty, even in the Xianxiao continent. Surprisingly. Mo Li sneered. Ningxiang's eyes were full of disbelief. As for those around them who do not believe and hold a skeptical attitude, it is their fault. Yesterday, he saw with his own eyes that Mo Li was quenched into 9 layers. As soon as I saw it today, there was a fluctuation of spiritual energy around me, indicating that it was a combination of spiritual and martial arts. One night. In just one night, one can practice again and step into the realm of spiritual martial arts. This matter has never been heard of or seen before. Quickly, Ning Xiang reacted and said in a cold voice, "So what about your Lingwu dual strength?" "I am a Lingwu dual strength. I advise you to let go of me now and kowtow 3 times to me. For today's matter, I can let bygones be bygones. I am a spiritual martial artist, what if this useless person can cultivate? But it's just one level of Lingwu." But he forgot that it was him, not Mo Li, who was half kneeling now. He, is that right? Mo Li's mouth curved slightly, and there was a faint smile in his eyes. "Then I really want to thank you," he said. It's good to know, but not yet." Ning Xiang thought Mo Li was afraid and was about to continue his arrogance when a sharp pain hit his fingers, causing him to kneel on the ground. Ning Xiang's face was covered in cold sweat, unable to lift his head, and he no longer had the arrogant look he had just shown. No, uncle, I know I was wrong. Just treat me like a fart and let me go." I calculated in my heart that as long as Mo Li let go, he would definitely be asked to kneel down and beg for mercy. Mo Li doesn't even know the details in his heart. In his previous life, this guy bullied him a lot. Okay. Upon hearing Mo Li's affirmation, Ning Xiang was overjoyed and sneered, "Thank you very much, uncle." Mo Li's hand suddenly strengthened its strength and gave it a forceful break. Click. The sound of bone fracture emanates from within the self-condensing fingers. With the sound of bones breaking, the square in front of the cafeteria was filled with screams of Ning Xiang killing pigs. "Ah! My hands! My hands!" Ning Xiang knelt on the ground, his face covered in cold sweat, tightly covering his right hand. His index finger curved outward, causing pain as he watched. The disciples of the Ning family around took a deep breath, and their right index finger felt a slight pain. Their gaze towards Mo Li changed. Mo Li no longer looked at him and walked coldly towards the cafeteria, ignoring the crazy roar of staring behind him. "Mo Li, I want to kill you." Ningxiang disregarded the stabbing pain in her right hand and rushed towards Mo Li. His eyes were full of crimson, and his face was fierce. He must pay a painful price for Mo Li. As Ning Xiang's left fist approached, it was about to hit Mo Li in the back of the head. Mo Li's head was slightly turned to one side, and he punched his ear. This punch is extremely fierce. If hit in the back of the head, one will either die or be half disabled, and the rest of their life will be spent lying in bed. Mo Li's eyes were cold, and he intended to only teach a lesson, but he wanted his own life. Turning around in an instant, he punched out, and his fist shot out like a shell. Directly shooting Ning Xiang out, blood spat out from his mouth, his chest bone fractured, and he passed out. Finally, he fell to the ground, slid several meters away, and was blocked by a figure before falling down the stairs. Beating a dog still depends on the owner. A useless son.in.law who dares to beat me would want to die. Condensed deficiency. Mo Li's eyes narrowed slightly, staring straight at the young man. The disciples of the Ning family around turned to Mo Li, casting sympathetic glances. "Ning K has arrived, this guy is really unlucky. Who wouldn't know that Ning Xiang, Ning Air, and he were brothers and sisters, and hitting them was equivalent to hitting his face. Let's go notify the young lady and don't cause any harm." Ning K kicked Ning Xiang and said, "Waste, you can't even handle a single piece of garbage." Ning K walked towards Mo Li with a calm face. "Mo Li, seriously injured your fellow tribe. Today, leave your right hand and kowtow to admit your mistake. This matter is over, but if you don't agree, I will take action to avenge my younger brother today. Ning lacks the triple strength of Lingwu, and coupled with his grandfather being the elder of the Ning family, he has become accustomed to arrogance within the Ning family, cultivating a domineering personality. Few people in the Ning family dare to provoke him. Last night he suffered a great shame, and today he absolutely wants Emoli to return it twice as much. Emoli sneered, "Do you dare to touch me?" In the previous life, Ning Ke was one of the main culprits who bullied him. Seize his spirit stone and elixir. I still remember the scene of him bullying me. Ning Ke's face turned pale as she recalled the humiliating moment from last night and said in a deep voice, "Waste, I'll give you a chance." "You don't want it." Ning Ke raised her hand and hit Emoli, revealing her body's aura and the triple strength of Lingwu. The right hand transforms its fist into a palm, and the spiritual energy in the palm converges with a faint sense of fragmentation. The surrounding disciples were filled with envy in their eyes, clearly recognizing the martial arts skills exhibited by Ning Quebec. Broken Rock Palm. Inferior second-level martial arts skills. Undoubtedly, he is the grandson of the Great Elder, and he can cultivate such martial arts skills. It seems that Emoli is done for. With 3 levels of spiritual martial arts and a second-level martial arts skill, such as the Broken Rock Palm, if this palm hits him, he will probably die 10 times without any life. Broken Rock Palm. The second-level martial arts skill of the Ning family. Its power is terrifying, it can smash rocks with just one palm. Looking at the palm that was attacking his face, Emoli couldn't hide or dodge, standing in place. Seeing that Emoli had no movement, Ning Ke sneered coldly, thinking he had been scared silly. "Waste, if you're afraid, I'll give you another chance. Kneel down now, kowtow and admit your mistake. I'll spare you for not dying." Emoli shook his head. In his past life, he had seen Ningxuang unleash this shattered rock palm. With one palm strike, the power is countless times stronger than this. Emoli slowly raised his right hand and clenched his fist amidst the shocked gazes of the crowd. What does he want to do? Does he want to confront Ning Ke head-on? Isn't this seeking death? Ning Ke also thinks so. Isn't this useless person suffering from heartbreak? Give you a chance, you don't want it, but no wonder I'm useless. I'll reincarnate in the next life with long eyes. The palm slammed fiercely, revealing the power of shattered rocks. Emoli lifted his right fist and bullied his body upwards. Remember what the old man said in your heart. To fight against the law, one must first reach the upper body, align hands and feet in order to be true. The body is like a wandering dragon, the fist is like a fierce cannon, and when encountering enemies, it is like burning oneself with fire. A powerful force emerged from the fist. Drink. The fist is like a fierce tiger, with a rainbow-like momentum, charging straight ahead, unleashing unparalleled strength. Fist-palm collision. Bursting waves of air, both sleeves and robes made a hunting sound. Emoli slid his right foot backwards and supported his body, stabilizing his body shape. On the other hand, Ning Ke took 4 or 5 steps back before stopping, and at this moment, his eyes were full of shock. Chapter 9. Ningjia Token. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ning Ke's palm trembled slightly, and waves of piercing pain transmitted to his mind. Just now, I felt like my hand was being hit by a shell. Impossible. Impossible, I am the 3rd level of Lingwu, and you are only the 1st level of Lingwu, shouted Ning from the gap. He didn't believe that he was shaken back by a spiritual martial power. Just one blow. The disciples of the Ning family were also shocked and looked incredulous, revealing a monster-like expression as they looked at Emoli. In this match, Ning Ke unexpectedly lost. The 2nd-grade broken rock palm is used for coagulation. The martial arts used by Emoli look quite impressive, with a domineering and fierce aura. With one punch, it feels like a shell being fired, and I don't know what level it is. No matter what level he has, he can't win against Ning deficiency. Although there is only one level of spiritual energy between the 3 levels of spiritual martial arts and the 1 level of spiritual martial arts, the difference in spiritual energy possessed by the two is huge. If you want to fight beyond your level, relying solely on advanced martial arts skills cannot make up for it. You must have used some kind of magic, it must be. Otherwise, how could one punch shake me back? It's shameful to be shocked back by a garbage that weighs as much as a spiritual weapon, as Ning Ke became angry and ashamed. Before Mo Li could even speak, Ning deficiency struck again. Mo Li knows that he can no longer hide today. The operation of the floating butcher technique. Spiritual energy converges in muscle meridians and ultimately condenses at the tip of the fist. Xingyi Quan, E. The power of this punch is even stronger, with a fierce tiger faintly visible, perched on the fist. The power is 1 level higher than before. A faint explosion is brewing within it. Stop it. A girl's low drink struck. Interrupted 2 people. A beautiful girl with a thin veil on her face and a long white dress walked between the two. I saw the girl's eyebrows furrow slightly, with a hint of warm anger in her cold eyes. Ning, what do you want to do? Faced with the girl's questioning, Ning pointed to the 2 people lying paralyzed on the ground and said, Mo Li seriously injured my younger brother. Can't I teach him a lesson? Ning Xuang noticed that Ningxiang and Ninger were lying on the ground, howling in pain. Their faces were slightly cold, and she said, no one in Ningfu knows, no one knows. They are both Lingwu Yichong and Lingwu Akong. Mo Li only quenched his body. Before the 9 heavens of the quenched body could speak, a surprised expression appeared in Ning Xuang's eyes as she stared closely at Mo Li, 1 level of Lingwu. When did you break through the Lingwu level? You can't. Ning Xuang, you're not going to stand up for him, are you? Ning Miao stared at Ning Xuang in a deep voice. You know better than me who Ningxiang and Ninger are. Ning Xuang stared coldly at Ning Bei and said in a cold voice, they must have provoked me first today. Do you want me to find my father and ask what to do about this matter? Ning Ke's face changed and she put down her harsh words, Mo Li, today is considered your good luck. I hope you will still be so lucky next time. Although he is the eldest and youngest grandson of the Ning family, it cannot be denied that Ning Xuang is the daughter of the head of the family, and their identities are vastly different. If it really gets to the head of the house, there will definitely be no good fruit to eat. Ning Ke kicked Ning Xiang and Ning Er on the buttocks and said in a deep voice, if you're not dead, get up for me. Don't embarrass yourself here. Before leaving, don't forget to take a deep look at Mo Li. When did Ning Ke suffer such a loss? He must pay the price that Mo Li deserves, not to shatter his body into pieces. It is difficult to dispel the hatred in his heart. In the Ningjia restaurant. Ning Xuang sat opposite Mo Li, her beautiful eyes fixed on him. This scene drew envy and howls from the disciples of the Ning family in the cafeteria. Ning Xuang spoke in a cold voice, can you practice now? This doesn't really make sense. She heard her father say with her own ears that Mo Li's blood vessels were broken and blocked, making it impossible to cultivate in this life. Mo Li nodded and buried his head in eating. How could you suddenly cultivate? Has your bloodline been repaired? Ning Xuang asked curiously. Secret. Mo Li didn't lift his head, he didn't want anyone to know the secret of his body. He lowered his head to eat on his own, and in no time, he finished the food in his bowl. Mo Li looked up at Ning Xuang and licked the rice grains from the corner of his mouth. Do you want to eat them? What? Ning Xuang was still thinking about what had happened to Mo Li. When asked, he didn't say anything, only that it was a secret. But now staring directly at oneself, what does this mean? Do you want to eat? Mo Li said again. Ah. Oh. Ning Xuang only then noticed that Mo Li was staring at the food in front of her and said, "You eat." Mo Li was not polite either, pulling the rice that had only been taken by Ning Xuang in front of him and eating it in large gulps. Since the repair of blood vessels and the re-quenching of the body, appetite has increased significantly. The one just now was only half full. Picking up a piece of bitten animal meat, Mo Li opened his mouth and bit it without paying any attention. That. Ning Xuang had just thought of a way to stop it, but Mo Li took a bite. "What's wrong?" Mo Li looked up vaguely and said, "Do you also want to eat?" He handed the meat in his hand to Ning Xuang and said, "It's quite fragrant." Ning Xuang shook her head and said, "No need, you can eat." Thinking of the fragrant two characters, my pretty face slightly changed. What's going on with this guy at this moment? The two of them were like a real couple, and Mo Li didn't mind the drool of Ning Xuang at all. By the way, the matter of entering the ancestral temple has already been settled. "But there's a condition," said the frosty beauty with drooping eyes. "What conditions?" Mo Li didn't lift his head and continued to work. 1 month later, within the Ning family, if you rank in the top 5, you will be allowed to enter the ancestral temple. Otherwise. The more Ning Xuang said, the less confident she became. Although she had agreed to the other party, she still had this unreasonable request. Mo Li didn't care and sneered, "Is it the request made by that old dog?" Old dog. Ning Xuang was momentarily taken aback, then understood and nodded. "Is it in the top 5? Mo Li's eyes narrowed slightly, and then he looked straight into Ning Xuang's eyes. "I have decided to leave the Ning family for a period of time," he said. "Where are you going?" Ning Xuang frowned. "The Beast Mountain Range." "The Beast Mountain Range. Where monsters roam, with your current strength." Before Ning Xuang could finish speaking, Mo Li interrupted, his eyes slightly narrowed, and he said, "Time waits for no one. 1 month, the Ning family will compete, and 6 months later, the beast tide will be tested. It may seem like a long time, but for Mo Li, it is too short. He must enter the ancestral temple of the Ning family. He must participate in the beast tide trial. Only in this way can he have a chance to defeat Mo Qianqiu in a year and a half. In the previous life, Mo Qianqiu's strength reached the 6th level of Xuanwu realm. In this life, there will never be any difference. With your current strength, it's a bit dangerous. Do you need me to accompany you?" Ning Xuang understood in her heart and asked. Mo Li shook his head and said, "No need." He decided to enter the Beast Mountains himself, and he still remembers what he got in the previous life in the Beast Mountains. "This time, I can just grab those and help myself cultivate. There are also some things from the previous life that I heard someone found." "Exactly, go find all those by yourself." Ning Xuang didn't say much and said, "Then I'll give you the Ning family token so that it will be convenient for you to enter and exit." Ning Xuang took off a jade pendant from her waist and placed it in Mo Li's hand. The jade pendant is not big, the size of a palm. There is exquisite carving on it, and in the center of the jade pendant, there is a condensed character engraved. This is the entry and exit permit for the Ning family. Mo Li needs it. Without this token, entering and exiting the Ning family is a problem. Thank you very much. Chapter 10. Immortal Fruit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Bailing City. Located in a remote area, it relies on the Beast Mountain Range on 3 sides. Surrounded by dense forests, abundant minerals, and numerous spiritual medicines, compared to other cities, this place also has the most monsters. The Ning family is located in the eastern district of Bailing City, adjacent to the East Gate. Outside the East Gate, there is a large forest. Through the forest, you come to the foot of the Beast Mountain Range. This area belongs to the edge of the Beast Mountain Range, and there are often some Lingwu 1st and 2nd level demon beasts appearing. If we continue to penetrate deep into the mountains, the power of the monster will also become stronger. Those who enter the Beast Mountain range in Bailing City to search for treasures and pick herbs only dare to search on the outskirts. Although they know that there are many elixirs within the mountains, no one dares to step further. Rumor has it that deep in the Beast Mountain range, there exists a demon beast at the peak level of the Xuanwu realm. At this moment, at the foot of the Beast Mountain range, a young man wearing a tight black shirt is fighting against a monster. That monster has a wolf-like form, a slender body, black hair like needles all over, a pair of red eyes full of ferocity, and occasionally emits low growls in its mouth. The Night Demon Wolf, the Spirit Martial Double Demon Beast, just right. Let me give you a try. The young man narrowed his eyes, stepped forward, and headed straight towards the Night Demon Wolf. Fist clenched tightly, spiritual energy converges on the fist, forming a thin barrier of spiritual energy. Xingyi fist, drink. With a low shout, a fierce tiger emerged from his fist. The Night Demon Wolf opened its bloodthirsty mouth, revealing its sharp fangs and roared as it charged towards Mo. It clearly felt a hint of danger on the human race in front of it. As a monster's instinct, it knows very well that it cannot retreat, and its sharp teeth bite towards the attacking fist. Mo's body turned and dodged the attacking demon wolf, his sharp teeth misaligned, and he punched the abdomen of the Yi demon wolf. With just one punch, it directly shook back the Night Demon Wolf, which was the size of an adult. The Night Demon Wolf felt pain and let out low growls in its mouth. In his crimson eyes, a fierce light flickered, and as he struggled, he became braver and charged towards Mo again. The Night Demon Wolf is an extremely fierce and intelligent monster. They are a species that fights for a long time. Either you kill them or they tear you apart. I especially enjoy constantly probing, finding your flaws, and dealing a fatal blow. The Yi Demon Wolf launched another attack, this time at a much faster speed than before. Mo stepped forward and dodged backwards, avoiding the fatal bite of the Yi Demon Wolf. Before Mo could retaliate, the Yi Demon Wolf's sharp front paw slashed fiercely. Sting! The front paw ran over the clothes and directly tore through the clothes on Mo's body, leaving 3 incisions on his abdomen. Mo was startled and broke out in a cold sweat. If it weren't for taking a forceful step back just now, he would have left 3 deep bloodstains on his abdomen. Looking around in the distance, constantly observing his Night Demon Wolf, this beast is really smart. Animal, come again. Mo's eyes sank, and his footsteps suddenly stepped up, deceiving him. The Yi Demon Wolf fled backwards without confronting Mo head-on. Even with Mo's fist, it just managed to dodge and quickly pulled out its form. This beast wants to exhaust my strength. Mo saw at a glance and clenched his fist. You can't let it drag on like this, otherwise it's me who will die. Mo stopped and studied the appearance of the Night Demon Wolf, his eyes fixed on it, observing its every move. The Night Demon Wolf, this kind of monster, is the most patient hunter. Once they focus on their prey, they will slowly exhaust their strength. At this moment, Mo transformed his prey and hunter into a patient hunter, calm and composed. The Yi Demon Wolf took a step to the left, and Mo, who had not moved, suddenly moved his body. The speed was so fast that even the Yi Demon Wolf, known for its speed, did not react. With a punch from Mo, the left fist faintly resembled a fierce tiger, containing the meaning of a fierce cannon. The Night Demon Wolf turned to the right, intending to dodge this blow. Mo knew that the fish had taken the bait. His punch was just a feint, and the next one was the fatal blow. Drink it. Mo let out a loud shout and made a powerful and heavy right-hand gesture, making a piercing sound, resembling a fierce tiger, fiercely hitting the neck of the demon wolf. The powerful force will knock out the Night Demon Wolf. The body of the Night Demon Wolf was like a shell hitting a stone, eventually collapsing to the ground, with blood surging from its mouth and its body constantly twitching. Looking at the demon wolf who had died and could no longer die, Mo breathed a long sigh of relief. The night demon wolf is indeed difficult to deal with. However, with the power of my current fist technique, I can unleash it with all my might. Even if I encounter the triple demon beast of Lingwu, I can still fight in one go. Mo Li searched and took out the demon core from the head of the Yui demon wolf, while also digging away the hind leg flesh, so he didn't stay here any longer. Monsters are naturally sensitive to the smell of blood, and soon they will attract many monsters. It's already late at night. Mo Li arrived at a cave and scanned the surroundings. That's right here. According to my memory, Mo Li walked along the edge of the cave and into the mountain cave. The cave is not big, only over 2 meters deep. As soon as he walked in, Mo Li glanced at a stone that was tall enough for a person. His mouth curved slightly and he said, "Sure enough, he still has the same memory." Walk to the side of the rock and reach into the crevices of the rock. With a grip on his right hand, he felt something being grabbed in his hand, and Mo Li pulled out slightly with force. A spiritual medicine with a single fruit was held in Mo Li's hand. Looking at the fruit in his hand emitting a misty aura, Mo Li smiled and said, "Immortal fruit. Second grade spiritual medicine, fairy spirit fruit. Its value is not cheap. I remember in my previous life, an auction house sold one for a price of 200,000 gold coins. 200,000 gold coins, enough for an ordinary family to use for a lifetime. Even for families like the Ning family, their annual net profit is only over 2 million gold coins. In his previous life, he practiced Xingyi fist in this cave and only discovered it when he smashed a stone with one punch. It also damages the fairy fruit, with most of its medicinal and spiritual power lost. Nowadays, obtaining a perfect fairy fruit can make Mo Li happy. Raise the flames, take out the hind legs of the night demon wolf, and bake them on the fire. I casually took out a few berries from my arms, threw them into my mouth, and a sour taste burst out in my mouth. Mo Li didn't care either. He sat cross-legged and took out the demon core of the night demon wolf. Taking advantage of the flames, one can see a crimson mass inside the demon core. This is the essence and blood of the demon beast. Monsters and humans are different, their bloodline power is hidden within the demon core. Although it is only the essence and blood of the Lingwu dual demon beast, even the smallest mosquito is still flesh. Mo Li placed the demon core in the palm of his left hand and his right hand on his left hand, his eyes tightly closed, and the floating butcher creation technique automatically operated. A bloody aura drifted out of the demon core, out of Mo Li's palm, and into his body. According to the Futu creation technique, it operated for 13 cycles and ultimately disappeared into the dragon's veins. Such rich essence and blood, entering the dragon veins, are like sinking into the sea without causing any waves. Mo Li sighed helplessly and said, "Alas, it seems that we really need to refine the bloodline of the demon beasts in the Yuan Wu realm." A piercing sound came from the side, and a strong meat aroma spread into Mo Li's nose. "It smells so good." Mo Li's eyes lit up, and his stomach made a gurgling sound. Without considering the scorching temperature of the grilled meat, I took a big bite of the hind leg meat. The meat juice burst out instantly in the mouth, and the rich meat aroma swept through the entire mouth. Truly worthy of being a dual demon beast of Lingwu, this meat is fragrant. Mo Li's eating behavior is like a reincarnation of a starving ghost. In no time, the hind leg meat was completely eaten by him without any residue. Dogs shed tears when they see it, and flies slip when they land on it. Having eaten and drunk enough, Mo Li patted her stomach with satisfaction. Take out the fairy fruit you just obtained and place it in your palm. Before Mo Li could start absorbing it, the fairy spirit fruit shrunk at a visible speed to the naked eye, and the spiritual energy and medicinal power were sucked into the body, entering the jade. The sudden change occurred, and Mo Li froze in place with a bewildered expression on his face. Does the floating butcher creation technique automatically operate and absorb this fairy spirit fruit?